First of all, to begin the service, I would like to invite my dear friend, Taz Bouchier, to come forward and accept my request and the tobacco to bring forth your blessing and your greeting and your words for us today.
Thank you for this moment. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Taz Bouchier. I'm privileged to be recognized as an elder in my community.
Can you speak up, Taz, please?
I'm privileged to be recognized as an elder in my community. I always catch her off guard, and I always get lost trying to find this place. It's every year, last couple of years, it's like I don't know what the block is, but it's there. What I've been asked to do is provide a smudging ceremony. How many of you have participated in a smudging ceremony before? Okay, wonderful. Last year, my late husband was with me to provide the smudging ceremony and to do a drum song as well. And then a few days later, went home to spirit world, as we say. And we knew that was going to happen when he came to the memorial service. But for him, it was a closing because he was raised in foster care. One of the systemic damages that has happened to our people nationally. And he didn't understand these spiritual practices for many years till I introduced him to the spiritual practices when we married many years ago. So I'm going to light the smudge, and I'm going to invite whoever would like to smudge to come up. And while you're smudging, I'm going to read off something I wrote this morning as I pondered and thought about and prayed about this genocide memorial and what needs to really be told as truth and enlightenment in this country and this land now known as Canada. So if you would like to smudge, please one by one just come up and smudge and bless yourselves that way. And smudging is a form of spiritual cleansing and preparation for sacred work. And that's what I've been taught. I'm really fortunate, I grew up with smudging ceremonies. I grew up with the spiritual practices and the beliefs and values of the original people. I don't have the influence of residential school. I don't have the influence of foster care, nor do I have the influence of other religious teachings that have taken place. Although I've listened to some of them. Now Audrey has made me mindful. I've got 2 minutes. So you've got 2 minutes to rush up here and smudge. The old ones would say every word we say is a prayer, and we must talk in a way that exemplifies that. That every word is an uttered part of your being coming from within inside yourself. Today is Genocide Memorial. I thank you all, but first and foremost, I want to thank Audrey for inviting me to this ceremony. I thank Creator and all my ancestors for the knowledge I've been given to share with others. During my lifetime, I have dedicated my life to the struggle of Indigenous people of what is now known as Canada. I have done what I can to increase awareness of the horrific attempts to assimilate us into another way of being. In doing so, I am labeled as a troublemaker, a loudmouth, and numerous other various descriptive titles. I have also been put down for the color of my skin, my gender, my age, my language, and for the spiritual practices that I live by. But I continue to be who I am, knowing that the voice of truth shall prevail. Throughout my life, I have cherished the ideal of a democratic and free society in which all people live together in harmony and equal opportunity. It is an ideal which I hope to live for and achieve in some measure within my lifetime. And if need be, it is an ideal for which I am prepared to die for. It is not easy to walk your talk, to set a standard that influences others to step up to higher ideals of working together. But I truly believe that it is achievable. I was taught as a child to be proud of my heritage, the language of Cree, the color of my skin, and to live according to natural law, which included Indigenous spirituality. Natural law teaches us to observe nature and to learn from natural processes. And when I see the vast array of colors I know difference contributes to the beauty of any landscape. There is difference in texture, difference in scent, difference in movement, and it's difference that influences the soul towards increased enlightenment. Having been taught as a child to view difference as being creator, God's handiwork towards spiritual development, I have been quite shocked at the realization that others are taught that difference is evil and unacceptable, therefore requiring some sort of reprogramming or a divine intervention. More shockingly is the creation of legislation, policies, bylaws, and imposed programming that have and continue to attack the first peoples of this land. There is a continuation of systemic strategies to eradicate culture, language, and indigenous spiritual practices. From the policy of assimilation in 1884 to the more recent discovery of documentation that demonstrates the calculated starvation of indigenous children during the 1940s and the 1950s, the federal, provincial, municipal governments, and numerous churches continue to lie, cover up, and undermine the credibility of Indigenous people of Canada. Today in this memorial, I offer the symbol of my people in the form of a turtle as a symbol of hope that the time of truth continues and we can walk side by side in a mutually respectful manner, acknowledging that we, the people of Turtle Island, have inherent rights under the Constitution and international laws. And may all who come to live in our land demonstrate a positive regard for difference. Hi, nanaskum tanawa.
Hi.
And I'll put the turtle down when other people are putting the other rocks down a little bit later. The turtle, we say North America and South Canada and the United States form what is called Turtle Island. The barriers that are in place now, what we call the boundaries, the borders, thank you. I call them barriers. are created. They weren't there. We would migrate back and forth for centuries prior to other governments coming in and saying this is how it has to be. We didn't believe in the fences. We said it's an open land, God-given land. And we did a welcoming ceremony to people, which you now call the Thanksgiving dinner, to help them learn how to be living accordingly on this land in harmony. The whole thing about treaty is that we were supposed to live in harmony, having a mutual respect for the difference of culture, having a mutual respect for the difference of language, having a mutual respect for the difference in the ways that we do and govern laws. We have our own methods of law. We have our own methods of taking care of each other. And we taught the ancestors of the visitors or the allies, as we now call people, who came to this land, how to exist in this land and how to live on this land. We were very generous, almost to our detriment, people, because when they started creating laws without consultation with the Aboriginal community and under treaty status. That is something they should have done, and they continue to not do. Therefore, the uprise of Idle No More and the other teachings that are taking place in regards to what is truth in this land and helping people to understand what is a reality and what is protected by law internationally. So thank you so much for hearing me out. The words that I'm saying are prayers of my ancestors. The words of my ancestors goes back to spirit world, and my prayer is that truth will be revealed even more at different levels as it continues to be. And these governments that are imposing upon each and every one of us now a different form of genocide that you don't understand if you don't study it. And that's the genocide of being a human being, period. Just being a human being is happening at many, many levels of government, where we're told to not be quiet, our rights are taken away to speak up, our rights are taken away to write about things, our rights are taken away to, address each other as human beings and to look at each other as human beings. And we need to stop that and start living to a higher ideal and saying, as a human being, I will love my neighbor, I will help my neighbor, and I don't need a policy to tell me to do that. Hi.
Hi. That's the end of it. And we don't need to say anything else because we've had the blessing and we've had the sacred words. However, I invite intern Helen McFadyen, who has become a dear friend and a nag, to come and say Harry Meserve's prayer for humanity. Helen,
I think I'll just speak from over here, if that's all right.
you don't want to get close to me.
We spend too much time together, Audrey. It is my privilege to be with you today. I am the intern minister at the Unitarian Church of Edmonton.
Step forward beyond the tree, and they want to throw eggs, they can.
I also work as a hospital chaplain at the University of Alberta Hospital with a diversity of patients and staff who come from all cultures and all experiences. And my experience is that people are often wounded, carry the wounds, their own wounds, and the wounds of their ancestors with them all their lives.
Do you want the table here?
No, that's good. These are the words of Harry Meserve. From arrogance, pompousness, and from thinking ourselves more important than we are, may some saving sensibility liberate us. For allowing ourselves to ridicule the faith of others, may we be forgiven. From making war and calling it peace, special privilege and calling it justice, indifference and calling it tolerance, pollution and calling it progress, may we be cured. For telling ourselves and others that evil is inevitable while good is impossible, may we stand corrected. God of our mixed up, tragic, aspiring, doubting, and insurgent lives, help us to be as good as we have always wanted to be in our hearts. Amen.
Thank you so much.